Lift on this Thanksgiving Thursday. Woo! Are you having a great day? I'm having a great day. I forgot I had the music on. You know what? Music gets me in the spirit, so that's how I get going. All right, Alexa, off. I am so grateful today to be here. Welcome to The Left. This is a show that is going to lift you up. It's going to inspire you no matter where you are starting your day. I hope you end it after this broadcast with some hope, with some healing, with some happiness, with some wisdom that is going to help you change your life. And we are so lucky and fortunate today to have somebody who is not only has changed his own life, but is changing the lives of other people. And I am more than thrilled to bring on Larry Webb. Happy Thanksgiving, Larry.
Hey, how are you?
You know what? I'm doing great. I'm happy and I am grateful. You know, I try to have gratitude in my heart every day. I'm sure just like you do. How are you today?
Very good. Very good. This day to me has always been about gratitude. I usually spend this day thanking a lot of people, going back and remembering and just like waking up from people again. So yeah, it's always a special day for me.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it this morning. I mean, every day I try to wake up with this is how I wake up every day. I was thinking about it earlier this morning, and a couple of years ago, we were all sitting around the dining room table right behind me, and my family was here, and I said, please, you guys go around the table and say, what are you grateful for? And when, of course, you're grateful for your health, you're grateful for your family and your friends, and God, of course, all that stuff. But when it came to be my turn, I said, I'm grateful for waking up every day with hope. I'm really grateful to take on the day and not know what it's going to bring, but I'm hopeful that I can create something and that the hope keeps me going, and hope keeps a lot of people going. Right, Larry?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wayne Dyer used to say this thing. I really liked it. He used to always say that there's two ways of waking up. You can wake up and say, good God, in the morning. Or you can wake up and say, thank God it's morning. They're the same thing, but so different. And it's how you start. It's how you start your day. Is everything.
I totally, wholeheartedly agree with you. So I think I listen to a lot of motivational speakers and Wayne Dyer and, Abraham Hicks and a lot of people. And I heard someone someday say, when I wake up, I'm going to put my 2 feet on the floor and I'm going to say, this is going to be a great day. Today is going to be a great day. So can we change the way we live our life by the words we say to ourselves?
Absolutely. Words have so much power. You think it, but what you talk to yourself is everything. What you say to yourself, your daily dialogue with yourself is everything.
The daily dialogue. And so if anything, and I know there's going to be a lot of great nuggets today in our conversation, but I think that it all boils down to that, is to how you speak to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So Larry has written this book, the little book From This to Bliss, right? Larry, tell us about this book. Why did you write this book? And what is it about?
So this book basically is it's a little piece of my journey that I went through coming out of the world of addiction. And it was a very, very strange and unusual thing to come from basically one day being as high as you possibly can be, and the next day not using it ever again.
Yeah, so we should mention that Larry is a recovered addict.
Yes.
Among other things, that's not just, I don't even like to say that. That sounds very labely to me. But it is the truth. You are a recovered addict, and you have now written this book to help others in their journey of healing, right?
Yes, correct.
But you know what I took away from reading this book? This book is not just for people struggling with addiction. This book is for anybody struggling with anything. Anyone that wants to change their life, their thinking. If they're struggling with, you know, eating addictions, or self-sabotage addiction, or, you know, alcohol addiction, or drug addiction, or you name it. Life is a struggle. If you're struggling with life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, all right, so let's talk about the book, because there's so many things. I've got like little stickies all over the place. Oops, one just fell to the ground.
You can be the most enlightened being on the planet. You're going to have some struggles. It doesn't really matter. You're going to have struggles. I passed out probably 100 books just to have people look at it and take a read and get some feedback. I've had so many people say, I've given it to my kids just because of the concepts in it. It's not about the drugs or the addiction. It's about the concepts of how to think, how do you see yourself, and that's the main part about the book. That is how you set yourself up. It's like you would think talking to yourself, you're having a dialogue. If you just try to get quiet and meditate, everybody says I can't do it because your mind goes crazy, right? You start thinking of all these different things. But when you start to look there, you really see how your mind does and how it does serve and what it's looking for. And if you get relaxed enough and quiet enough, things start to get clear.
All right, so let me get one thing straight.
Mm-hmm.
You are a recovered addict. You did this on your own without any program. How did you do it?
Correct. What I just got finished saying. I would sit down by the water and just get quiet. And it was a really, at first you would think, oh, it's going to be, that sounds so nice. The mosquitoes will eat you to death at night. So you're sitting on the water and you're just getting eaten alive. And once you get past that and you just get quiet, it's not like I heard a voice or anything, but things just start to clear up and start to come to you. And it's like who you are inside actually starts to wake up and says, hey, I've always been here. And it starts to become very, very clear to you. It's like even when you're in the midst of addiction, all right, you know that's not who you are. It's just something that you're doing at that time. And you get quiet like that and you start to, I call it meditation. That's where I started to practice my meditation. And the more I did, the more that actually came to me.
All right, so meditation helped you overcome your addiction, but it also, if I'm not mistaken, was your ability to decide that you no longer wanted to live this life. It takes a decision.
It's a decision, but it's like something, it's a life that I knew I didn't want to live. Always going in. It's like all through my addiction, I would sit there and say, my father had passed away, and my father was a minister, and in the middle of my addiction, if I'm getting ready to light up and get high, I would say, actually in my head, I would say, Dad, this is not who I am. I'm just doing this right now. This is not who I am. And I would have these conversations back and forth. So I was conscious the whole time that that's not my life. And this is not what I was meant to do.
Well, okay. So congratulations. But how can this work for other people? I mean, there's all kinds of programs.
Yeah.
And you know that people need to move the needle by really moving the needle, not inching along the needle, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it's a little confusing for someone struggling with something like addiction. So difficult. Now, you also lived on the streets, I believe, right? You were homeless.
Yes.
You were down and out. You were low.
Yes.
And you, at that moment, said, I know that this is not me, Dad. This is not the life I want to live. You decided to make a decision right then and there. That's it?
Well, a couple of things happened. Number one, when I was living on the street and I was living that way, let's make it clear. My mother still had a home that I could have went to. That was there. That option was there. But I was like, I put myself in this place. I'm going to take myself out of this place. I'm not going to go back and burden her. I put myself here. I can take myself from here and get myself back out. And that was always my thought. So I didn't even tell my mother. My family didn't even know.
So are you saying that everyone has the power to just do this on their own? Well,
that's a really great question. It's a great question. So I had someone ask me this, and they said, "You're like special," and I was like, "Special?" I started to think that I was special because I was like, "Wow, you just went from addiction. You went from not using. I was probably using like $300 worth of crack cocaine at the time. I went from that to not using the next day. So is that really special?" Well, when I got up and I tried to walk on the water, guess what? I'm not very special at all. I got wet, just like anybody else. So I'm having that thought at that time, saying to myself, you're not special. If I could do that, I don't walk on water, then everybody can. I have this thought in my head that always said this. And it's like, if there is a God, and I truly believe there is. I believe there's a higher power, or whatever you want to call it. What you call it doesn't matter. Whatever it is to you. Does he basically look down on you and say, okay, so you can do it, but you can't, and you can't, but you can, and you can? Doesn't make any sense to me. You all have that power within you.
Well, you know, we always hear, though, the phrase once an addict, always an addict. And I think that you and I have spoken before about the word I'm a recovering addict. You know, recovering means that you're still in the process of, right?
Correct.
So
you're always in that process. A lot of people believe
are you an addict, once an addict, always an addict? Is there always that chance that you're going to go back? And why don't you actually like that phrase?
Because I believe it's very simple. If I meet you right now and I say to you, I'm an addict, I'm in recovery, I'm an addict, and then you meet me 20 years from now, and if that's my dialogue, who am I 20 years from now? I'm the same person. I'm still an addict because it's my daily dialogue. I keep saying it all the time. I repeat it over and over and over again. So that becomes my daily dialogue.
What you put in the head.
For me, it's like if you could understand that every single day your body is made up of cells, okay? And like 10,000 cells die every single day, and 10,000 new cells come in. Well, the new cells are fresh, they're brand new cells, but they're listening to your dialogue. So if your dialogue is, I'm an addict, they're like, okay, we're an addict. They jump on board. When you sit and change your dialogue and start saying, I am no longer going to be an addict, that's something I did, the new cells jump on and start saying that.
So you're saying you can change your body chemistry by your thoughts and therefore change the course of your life.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much science behind it to back it up that's true.
It's about energy, right? Like you talk about in the book, energy. Our thoughts create certain energies that can change our cells in our body.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's, we're hearing more and more about that. Of course, I do believe that you have power in your thoughts and power in your heart, and choosing your words wisely can really change the way your day is going to go, and can potentially over a long time change the way that your life will go. Is that right?
Yes. There's a part in my book that people think it's the most controversial part in the book because I go with a science of these doctors that were actually talking. There's people who have multiple personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're having
I read that part. I was wondering about that. So let's talk about that. Yeah.
When I first heard it, I was shocked. I was like, "What?" I was really.
Well, let's tell people about what we're talking about. Like, if someone's at a party and they're drunk and they have multiple personalities or something.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of date myself here because when I used to listen to cassette tape. So I'm listening to this cassette, and this doctor's this two people are talking. One's a doctor, and he says basically that his client has multiple personality, and when she wakes up in the morning, she has six pairs of glasses sitting next to the bed, because depending on the personality that she wakes up with, her vision changes each time, depending on who she wakes up as. If you have a lesion on your arm and you change your personality, if I go from Larry to Sue, that lesion can disappear off my physically off my arm. Will it go back? Yes. It will go back when you change personalities. Yes. So
pretty more
crazy, but actually, the first time I heard it, I was like, I can't believe I really heard that. So I kind of put that cassette tape away. I was like, just put it on the side, leave it there. I'm listening again to a different person, talking to a different doctor, and I hear him say the same thing. And I was like, what? And it wasn't that they said it. It was how nonchalant they were about it. It was like, oh yeah, that happens.
It was like, oh, that's a matter of fact.
That's a matter of fact. And I was like, fact?
Yeah, because I think you talk about in the book, if this girl, this woman's out at a party and she's drunk, right? And but if she switches into a different personality, then she won't be drunk.
She says, I'm not worried about driving. I'm going to change. I'll just switch into a personality. I'll change my personality, and they won't find me drunk. And you think that is absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
And it's heard of. Yeah. The only difference between you and I and a person who's got a multiple personality, which basically happens from some kind of trauma, basically from trauma, where the body will automatically protect itself. So to protect itself, it's take you out of that horrible thing that's happening and block it for you by creating a personality.
So Larry, you have actually overcome a lot in your life. So you've overcome addiction, and now you're basically, you've written this book to help people who are struggling with addiction find out that they have a lot of power. It's very empowering, your book, and it's very insightful. What is your hope for people reading this book?
This book was basically written because when I was struggling with addiction, and I had realized that I needed help in that moment, which I called a window. A person who's addicted usually has this window where they just like, I need help right now. And if you can't get it in that very second, it's going to go away. I literally went to a hospital. I was at the wrong hospital, but I went to a hospital late at night to get help. And it was a Saturday night, and my heart was pounding out of my chest. I thought I was going to die. So I said, if you don't help me right now, I'm going to die. And they weren't a hospital that was open 24 hours. It's just a wrong place. And they said, well, we can't help you here tonight, but you come back Monday. And gave me a card. You get help. And I was like, Monday? I'll be back out tonight using again.
Yeah.
Because that window was going to go by. So I was like, I will create something that you can get immediately. So this book is small. It fits in your pocket. I said, if you picked it up off the street, will it help you? Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I tell you, once you start reading it, and I've underlined a lot of sections in the book, but it's so empowering, and it makes sense. And I really love the way that you put it together, because it's sort of like this character Bliss that's imparting all of his knowledge and wisdom to people that are very incredulous. What do you mean by that? And let me give you these examples. And I like this in the book where you said there is no try, there is only do or do not. And I think you were talking about this this little moment during Star Wars, where Yoda says that there's only do or do not.
Yeah, there is no try, and most people think it's trying. When you say I'm going to try it, basically what you're saying is I'm willing to fail.
I'll give it a try. I'll give it a shot.
Which is and basically what Yoda basically was saying is there is no try. There's either do or do not. That's it.
Okay, so I want to bring up this. I'm going to see if I can try to actually bring this up on the screen, because you also did suffer for a time from a condition called vitiligo. I hope I said that right. Let's see if it comes on the screen. I don't think it's going to come on the screen for me, but let's see. No, it didn't. Okay, so you had a white mark across your face, across here, the bridge of your nose, and down through your face. Rather large white mark.
Yes.
Now, this condition was spreading in your body, and you were able to eradicate that. How did you do that?
So they call it right now they're calling it the Michael Jackson disease.
Right.
That's one of the things they call it. He used to wear one glove on his hand.
I hold up a photo here, if you can see this. This is what we're talking about. This is the condition that Larry had, right?
Yep. That's it.
Okay. That's it. Larry's like, that's it. So let's talk about.
That was the man on your face, as we called it back then.
The man on your face.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a man just sitting on my face.
You had a man on your face.
Correct. So.
Okay, so there's something inside of you. Now, this was after you were recovered as an addict. This condition came on after that?
Yes, it's an autoimmune. It's usually an autoimmune thing. Like I was saying about Michael Jackson, you wear the one glove. Everybody thought it was to be popular, but basically what happened was he had vitiligo, and it was it basically happens on your hands, your face, and then your genitals. And so that's where it is.
Okay.
And it appeared on my face, and you go to the doctors. They basically tell you it's not curable, but there's certain things that we can do. Because it was on my face, they didn't use a steroid because I could go blind. And I was like, well, that makes sense. I could go blind. I'm not going to be able to see it. That doesn't make any sense. So we're not going to do that option. So the next option was to get makeup and match the color of me and put it on my face.
Right.
That was the solution we were using, which I thought was great until I came up and hugged you. You'd have these marks all over yourself.
But that wasn't getting rid of anything. That was just covering something up.
Exactly. So it was the first thing that you have to accept is that is not you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is hard, because people are looking at you like, is that contagious? What is that? Because it looks so strange, especially with my complexion, and all of a sudden there's this thing on your face.
Yep.
So to overcome that part was the first thing, to accept that that's just something that appeared me, but it's not me.
Yeah.
After that, I started to use chia seeds just to take care of my diabetes that I have. So as I was doing that, and time was going by, the little girl that I was living with would say to me, "The man on your face is going away."
Wow. You mean you were eating chia seeds and then your vitiligo was actually disappearing?
It was disappearing. Yes.
I mean, how do you really know it was the chia seeds, though?
What I did was basically, my juice that I would have with all the vegetables and everything in it, and I would separate what I was doing each day. I would say, what is making this thing go away? And between the fresh juices that you're using and the chia seeds basically accelerate your cells, basically, as far as recovering. if you see people that win these marathons, it's usually some guy from Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
And he's way ahead of everybody else. And when they take their break or they get their water, they have chia seeds in as a gel, and they drink it, and it just re-energizes those. So I was like, "Wow, that makes sense." So as I was doing that, and I would watch it, the more I ate the chia seeds, the faster it went away.
Wow. How many chia seeds were you consuming per day?
Basically, it was just like a tablespoon before every meal.
Okay.
And then when I did a shake, I would put some in my shake. I would turn it into a gel first with water.
Mm-hmm.
They turn into like a little gel, so they're activated. So sometimes people take them straight, and by the time they activate, they're out of your system. So
wow, that is
I would activate
remarkable.
them first and then take them. So as I watch it go away, I was like, well, this is amazing. So when it's totally gone, I went back to the doctor. I walked into his office. I hadn't been there in a couple of years. And I was like, I just wanted to share it. And he was like, what did you do? What did you do? It's still trying to cure. And I was like, well, I used chia seeds and some vegetable juice, and it went away.
Wow, that is just a remarkable story. Thank you for sharing that, because I know people. I know that must have been I actually don't know, because I didn't walk around with your face and that condition on your face, and the shame or the fear, and you talk about fear in your book too, but I can't even imagine what it would have been like to walk around and feel as if people were repelled by you because they were afraid of you. What you say about fear in the book, and I don't know if I'm going to turn. Oh, look at that. I turned to the right page. You say fear, it's divine intervention on Thanksgiving Day. Fear is false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
False evidence appearing real. That is what fear is. I love that definition. Tell me about that. How did you come up with that? I love it.
I didn't really come up with it. I heard it. And when I hear things, and I did a lot of listening to other people, and there's nothing really new on the planet, to be honest with you. There is.
Although, Larry, you are unique. You're one of a kind. You are one of a kind. We are all, and that's what I mentioned, that is that no matter what you're going through, we are all uniquely incredible people that have the ability to offer so much to the world.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really important what you're saying, because the book is all about that. We have these abilities to do things, but we live in a world that tells us that we can't. And it's always there that we can't. And it's not true. We have things, we have these powers. It's like God gave you all these powers. Okay, you have them. You don't have to sit there and wait for them to happen or wait for it. You have the ability. A lot of people will say, you hear people say, I'm just going to turn it over to God. Well, that's great. That's absolutely great. But God already gave you everything. So I always say, if you're driving down the road and you're on I-95, you don't sit in the back seat and say, let God drive.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the power to do that. To do that, you must take action. So no matter what you want to do, whether it's healing or whatever it is, you have to be involved and take some action.
And I love the fact that you said, don't give away your power, because that's very important in this entire journey, is don't give away your power, because you have the power. Yeah. Believe that you have the power and start thinking that you have the power. And, one of the things that I also, it's like, we can't end our conversation without talking about another obstacle that you are facing right now, which you are in need of a kidney. You are right now in need of a kidney. And tell me about that. You're on dialysis daily?
I'm on home dialysis currently. It's funny that you're saying that right now. I just got finished. I was at the doctor just the other day, and they were talking about where I am at on the list, basically. And I have this father who is basically passed away, and he is being, I'm going to forget his name right now because I'm here live.
No worries.
Basically, he's someone has put a prayer out for me. Some friends of mine put a prayer out for me with him, and it seems like it's the answer because the doctors told me probably next year you've got a shot, and I'm like, over which
And
is
you've been waiting for 2 years, isn't that right?
and usually it's a 5-year wait, at least. I've had people who've offered to help me with that and stuff like that, but you have to be medically cleared to be able to do that. So
And,
it is.
and that's remarkable that you've been waiting 2 years for a kidney, and then also, but it doesn't have anything to do like finding a match. Does that have to do with your blood type at all, or how does that work?
So the way it works now is basically, let's say I'm going to offer a kidney, we're not a match. Okay, so what they would do is they take your kidney, they put me on the front of the list, and they would take kidney and give it to someone else, find a kidney that matches me, and do the swap. They just switch them. Basically.
Wow, that's remarkable.
It's basically win-win. Because if you have someone that is willing to give you a kidney, they're willing to swap it out, and you do that. So pretty amazing.
So, I just wish that you get to that top of that list very quickly, Larry. And I know that you're registered in Connecticut for your kidney. So let's keep praying and keep the positive thoughts going for you. But there was no one more appropriate that I could think of to interview on this Thanksgiving Day. Someone that has been through a lot. You live your life with gratitude and in service to others. And you've written this book to really help people, give them hope and give them healing and give them real actionable tips, I think. And it's changing the mindset. It's all about changing what's in here.
Absolutely.
So that you can change what comes out of here.
Absolutely. And then to spread it around. Not just to keep it as a secret. It's always been sometimes people will ask me, they'll say, "Oh, you must have been awful to be addicted like that." And I'm like, actually, I needed that life to be who I am today. Because without that, I could never be what I'm doing right now. And what I'm doing right now is more important to me than anything.
I know. And,
so.
I think we've spoken a couple of times now, and you basically have said that your wealth comes in, your ability to help other people, to take away the pain and to empower other people. It's not about money. It's about living your life in the way that you're living it in service.
I will share this story because it's probably the most one that says it the most. So when I started this journey before the book came out and I was practicing it, basically in the streets, I would drive to Bridgeport at 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, whichever. And then I go to New Haven and I would just drive down the streets and try to find people out there who were out there, and I would pass out my card. I stapled $5 to it. So they would take the card. And there's no one out there but people who are working the streets, prostitutes, drug addicts, and that's out there. That's in the morning. And I'm driving down the street one night, and I stopped someone and gave them my card. If you ever want to change your life, and the lady that I gave it to called BS. She goes, BS. And I said, well, why do you say that? She goes, why can't we talk about this right now? I said, we can. So we went to Dunkin' Donuts and on Ferry Street in Haven, which is a well-known street for those who live in that area. And we sat there for maybe 2-3 hours talking. A couple of years go by. I am bartending at the USS Charter. Give them a shout out.
Shout out to the pot.
Shout out there, yeah. And Father McKinney, by the way. So it's New Year's Eve, and my parents had both passed away. Every New Year's, I call my parents at 12 o'clock, no matter where I'm working. And this year, I could not talk to them. So I was like, wow, I was really kind of bummed out. So I went out into the dining room where there's nobody at midnight because everybody's in the bar. And I was sitting saying to myself, wow, mom and dad, this is crazy. I walked back to the bar, everybody's out there celebrating. And I walked past this lady and she's like, can I get a 7-Up? I gave her the 7-Up. And she looks at me and she goes, you don't remember me, do you? It was that girl from that night. She goes, that night I put myself into a rehab and my life has been changed ever since. It's like you just handed me $1 million to see that in her eye, and I couldn't even recognize her. That someone could change after sitting there for one night and talking.
Incredible. And that's why you do the work that you do. That is why you are out there walking the streets of Bridgeport at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, this is the life you have lived. These are the people that you have helped. And then they show up to tell you that, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for sitting with me in that Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because people think that you're special. I'm like, how could I be special? I can talk to somebody else and they do it. That means they're also special.
People need love and people need hope and people need to start to believe in themselves. And you have given us love and you have given us hope. And thank you so much for your words of wisdom on this Thanksgiving Thursday. I'm going to put a link to the book in the comments, the little book, From This to Bliss. It's on Amazon. If you know anybody struggling with anything in life, it's not just addiction. This is a great holiday gift. I will say it right now. This is a great holiday gift. And it's not, what is it? Like, it's very inexpensive too.
$13. You can get this book. It's amazing.
$13.
That's it.
Think about how much money you could save on therapy with just $13. Well, Larry, thank you so much
thank you for
sharing your Thanksgiving with me today. And we are going to be in touch. I am so happy that you have written this book because I know that it's going to help so many people.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on Thanksgiving. To everybody out there, have a blessed day.
Oh, thank you, Larry. And I want to also thank you for watching The Lift. This show happens because I need to lift people up. I need to lift myself up and I need to lift other people up. And I show up on intermittent days of the week at noon. So if you would like to be lifted, be sure to check back here on this platform for more shows with more authors that are setting out to change the world with love, with hope, with light. And I wish you and everybody else out there, families, a very safe and wonderful holiday today. Thank you for being here on The Lift.